use such force now?
No, no, no. Me and most of the people, long time ago, we know the people governing Libya, the Gaddafi and his family, they are not a human being. They are some kind of devil. I believe, strongly believe in that. They are not ruling. They are not having any human being feelings. They some kind, I believe they are some other kind of creatures. They are killing. They are stealing. They are torturing. They doing everything just to stay in power and just to relate everything to them. They have no concern whatsoever for anybody, for Libyan people. They are talking about on behalf of Libyan people as if they are providing everything, but they stole the power, they killed the people. They will not, and they did not allow any voice, any rule, any regulation which allow Libyan people to live in dignity unlike other people.
Mohammed, you said earlier that you were calling on any group you could think of, governments, human rights groups, all to do something. What can they do? Because this is not a government, a regime which listens.
What's happening? Yes, okay. The last issue happened now, and the last, starting last Wednesday, of course, Libyan airline and Afriqiya Airways are ruled by a person. His name is Sabri Shadi, and he's one of the Gaddafi's regime people, this gang, who's providing this civilian airliner to do whatever the regime wants and for secret missions. Some of them, they want to bring some guerrillas, African guerrillas, different parts. I'm not exactly aware of the exact parts outboard of Libya, bring them to Sabha and Tripoli, and then carrying them to Benghazi, to Al-Baida, Al-Abraq airport, in order to kill people, because they know the Libyan army and the Libyan people, no matter what, they will not kill each other. So they were bringing them in Libyan airplanes, Airbus 320, Airbus 330, and the Libyan pilots, they were carrying them, they were surprised, found themselves, instead of doing normal flights, they were asked to do flights carrying guerrilla, military guerrilla to massacre their people.
Mohammed, Mohammed, I'm going to jump in again there because we're running out of satellite time, unfortunately, but thanks for talking to us. Thanks for giving us a bit of insight into what you went through those 18 years in prison there.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have a call, please, if you can just give me a minute, please.
You know, we've got to move on. Stay there, and one of our producers will have a chat to you. We've got to move on because on the line, and this is significant, we managed to get through to Tripoli. You know, phone lines are difficult to get through at the moment. They've certainly been down for a long time. Adam's on the line, who we spoke to a little bit earlier. He'd been out on the streets witnessing what's going on. What have you seen since I last spoke to you, Adam, which was probably 2 hours ago?
Correct. Well, as you know, as I spoke to you before, there are the militiamen driving around, spraying people with machine guns, semi-automatic and automatic weapons. As of lately, we've been hearing a humming in the distance. It sounds like a plane engine. We're not too sure. And lately, we've been seeing something like flares being shot into the air. Although there's too many of them, and they're going far too fast and too high to be flares, it would seem. They're red and they lose their glow after a couple hundred feet. But that's all in the distance. We can hear multiple gun battles going on, and we've also heard from contacts in certain areas that militiamen are in places like Suka Juma, and the people are fighting them off. They're fending them off right now.
You talk about, forgive me if you have to cover ground here again, you talk about the firing on the streets. From the air, have you seen or heard anything? Has anyone told you about that? Because I've seen conflicting reports saying perhaps there weren't warplanes attacking in Tripoli, certainly in Benghazi, but not in Tripoli.
Right. Well, we've heard that people defected from Benghazi, but here, they were here. We can't tell if they're here right now. It sounds like there is the humming once again of plane engines in the background. From where we're at, we're far removed, but we can't be sure. Right now, all we can hear pretty much is the scattered bursts of machine guns, or, sorry, automatic and semi-automatic weapons in the background.
Okay, Adam, thanks for that, giving us an update of what he's seeing in Tripoli. Talks about machine gun fire or live round fire, I should say, on the streets, and then the reports of the warplanes overhead, perhaps not now, but certainly earlier. Warplanes operating along with live ammunition on the ground. That's one of the things we've been hearing throughout the day, that live rounds used against protesters in Tripoli, and reports that 250 people have been killed there on Monday alone. To put that in perspective, last night's total from Human Rights Watch, who give us their updated totals as much as they can, was 223 total. Now there's reports that maybe 250 killed just on Monday alone. Also, those reports, as I said, of airstrikes on anti-government demonstrators in the Libyan capital and in Benghazi. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But Libya's leader appears to be losing control of his armed forces. That is because 2 senior Libyan Air Force officers flew their fighter jets into Malta. They defected. They say they were ordered to bombard protesters and they simply wouldn't do it. Not just Air Force officers who are deserting Colonel Gaddafi. As many as 7 Libyan diplomats around the world have resigned. I spoke to the Libyan ambassador to India a while ago, who resigned in protest. Also, Libya's deputy ambassador to the United Nations, we heard from earlier, out and out called on Gaddafi to step down, completely distance himself and his team at the UN from the regime in Libya. Arab League, we've heard, taking notice as well of the chaos in Libya. Sources have told AlJazeera it has called an emergency meeting for Tuesday to discuss the situation in the troubled country. That was after a call from the Qatari Foreign Minister and Prime Minister suggesting that the Arab League act more decisively and call that emergency session. All this as Gaddafi's eldest son, Saif, announced he set up a committee to investigate the incidents taking place in the country. Perhaps a bit of a mirror of what we've seen happen in Egypt previously, attempts to placate the people bit by bit. You get the feeling, though, that the way the people are reacting in Libya at the moment, that would not be nearly enough to placate them. More anti-Gaddafi protests in London too. Back to Barbara in our London News Centre with that.
Kamal, thank you. Well, another unexpected development was 2 Libyan military jets that landed on the island of Malta, along with a number of helicopters. Now, reports say that the Air Force officers who piloted them had refused to take part in military operations against protesters. Well, AlJazeera's Carl Stange-Navarro is in Malta, and he told us that the pilots are now seeking asylum.
Well, I can confirm that the 2 senior officers from the Libyan Air Force, identified so far as colonels, have actually asked the Maltese government to be granted political asylum. Now, the 2 colonels have unexpectedly arrived, an unauthorized landing in Malta, shortly after 3 o'clock local time in the afternoon. Apparently, from the story they told the Maltese authorities as soon as they were surrounded when they landed in the Malta's International Airport, that they were ordered to bombard the protesters in the area of Benghazi. They were together with a squadron, and so there were only 2 of the aircraft in